Hi everyone, welcome back to a new post today. Let's today look at the economy for the week gone by for Jan 4th to 10th, and the very first is about the Ministry of Heavy Industries now doubling the output for the production linked incentive scheme. Let me tell you, the scheme was launched in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic for improving Make in India and also increasing the manufacturing contribution to the GDP of the economy. Now, the contribution to automobile sector under the PLI has been increased to around 5,800 crore for financial year 2027, up from 28,000 crore to accelerate especially the EV adoption, keeping in mind India's green goals. Now boosting also a boost to advanced autotech manufacturing like components, creating jobs and attracting investments, signaling strong support for India's auto industry ambitions. So the scheme is for automobile and auto components and many other sectors as well, but this time the focus for increase in investment is on auto components. And the objectives are to incentivize manufacturing of electric vehicles in India, advanced automotive products, strengthening domestic auto manufacturing value chain, boosting investment and job creation in the sector, and strengthening India's position as a global auto manufacturing hub. The proposed program aims to increase bigger incentives as well and also encourage higher production levels, attracting more investment in auto parts and also EV manufacturing as well. Now, a very good news, another one on the environmental goals for India is that solar manufacturing capacity has more than doubled in 2025, surging to 128% year on year, reaching approximately 144 gigawatts from the 2024 level of 63 gigawatts. Now, this has been driven by strong government policies like the PLI scheme again, and to boost self-reliance and energy security, establishing India as a major manufacturing hub. So, roughly 81 gigawatt new capacity has been added, and the government support is mainly from the PLI scheme, the production linked incentive scheme. This is very important for you to remember for the manufacturing and economy part, especially for industries and achieving India's environmental goals. The approved list of models and manufacturing is another program that is giving a push to the solar manufacturing, and it has been crucial in encouraging domestic production. Now, increased local manufacturing reduces reliance on imports, especially strengthening India's energy independence. India aims to build a self-reliant solar supply chain, moving towards manufacturing of cells, wafers and ignites. India is becoming a significant global player, especially in solar manufacturing, reducing its dependence on China. And this growth supports India's ambition clean energy targets like PM Surya Ghar rooftop solar scheme. Manufacturers are seeing very high demand with significant order books and also plans for further expansion, including backward integration as well. And now the Commerce and the Minister Piyush Goyal has been on a visit to Brussels to push the India-EU FTA, which is in the final and decisive stage of negotiating the FTA with India. This will be India's 19th FTA, and both sides are expressing a positive political resolve to conclude the agreement very soon. It is in the final stage with significant push from both EU and India as well. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has held high-level talks with EU Trade Commissioner in Brussels to provide strategic guidance and resolve pending issues. The top EU leadership like the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and the European Council President Antonio Costa are scheduled to visit India as chief guests for India's Republic Day celebration on Jan 26, 2026, and also for the India-EU Summit on the aftermath of on Jan 27th. The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is on a visit to India, and he is underscoring a strong support for meaningful conclusion of FTA, seeing a geopolitical necessity to diversify trade and also de-risk them from the supply chains of China. So what exactly? So some of them are some of the contentious issues between India and EU are EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism. Now this is the most contentious issue between India and EU, as India argues it is a form of carbon tax that will impact industrial exports to EU. Tariff reductions is the second. Differences persist over duty cuts, particularly EU's demand for significant cut on automobile, wine, spirits and medical devices versus India's push for zero duty access for labor-intensive sectors like textile and leather. Intellectual property rights disagreements have been on the protection requirement, market access and regulatory standards, reconciling different standards and government. What are the benefits? This would be the 19th FTA for India. It means a wider market access for India, where trouble looms from tariffs because of USA, helped India to diversify its markets. This is number 3. Number 4, FTA offers an opportunity to reduce dependence on China. Number 5, it helps to cushion impact of protectionist policies elsewhere. Number 6, it will benefit pharmaceutical, automobile, textile, steel, petroleum and electrical machinery. Number 7, labor-intensive sectors like garments, pharmaceuticals, leather would see an increased competitiveness. Number 8, EU would gain from high exports of aircraft, electric machinery, diamonds and chemicals. Number 9, for India, it offers access to EU's large market and opportunity to diversify exports. And number 10, the main relying manufacturing, the main export destinations are Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Poland. These are the top destinations, so India aims to diversify it among the other nations of the European Union. And the World Economic Situation Prospects 2026 report by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs UNDESA has projected India's economy to grow at 7.2% for the current fiscal. This estimate is slightly lower than India's government's own projection of 7.4%. So the growth drivers include economic resilience due to robust private consumption, strong public investment in physical digital infrastructure, defense and renewable sector. There is sectorial strength. Manufacturing services sector are expected to remain the main engines. The high US tariffs pose a risk, but demand from Europe and West Asia are expected to offset this. There is long-term growth forecast to moderate to 6.6 in 2026 and 6.7 in 2027. Average consumer price index of inflation remains stable for India, which may provide a resting room for monetary easing as well. Now, despite these moderate slowdowns compared to previous peaks, India is expected to remain the world's fastest growing major economy. And India is now scrapping the bids on Chinese firms to bid for contracts. That means the ministry is scrapping the restrictions on Chinese firms from bidding on Indian contracts, now not currently scrapping existing bids. The final decision, however, will be taken by the PMO. There were restrictions after the Indian troops and the Chinese troops clashed at the Doklam in Ladakh region, and the plan to ease the restrictions follows requests from various government departments that have experienced project delays, shortage of equipment and lack of competition in the bidding process as well. The move is a part of effort to revive commercial ties and balance economic pragmatism with national security concerns and diplomatic tensions between India and China. While the procurement rules may change, stricter restrictions are still on Chinese FDI in critical sectors. And textile focused research, assessment, monitoring, planning and startup scheme, that is the TEX RAM scheme, which is the central sector scheme approved by the government of India. It aims to provide a future proof for Indian textile and apparel ecosystem by addressing critical gaps in research, infrastructure, innovation. Now, the government under Ministry of Textile has signed 15 MOUs during the National Textile Ministers Conference in Guwahati to formalize the scheme's implementation. The scheme is structured around 5 core pillars: research and innovation, number 1; number 2, data analytics and diagnostic; number 3, integrated textile statistical system; number 4, planning and capacity building; and number 5, startup and innovation support. Apart from that, we have the textile, the financial assistance given by the center to the states, 12 lakh per year to each state or UT for structural reforms, 1 lakh per year for each district to develop and execute district specific plans. The scheme is designed to support India's roadmap to become a textile US $350 billion textile industry by providing robust real-time insights and enhancing global competitiveness. Apart from that, we have PM Mitra scheme, which opens the textile parks, and PLI scheme as well. India wants to become a major supply destination by 2030. Currently, India is the sixth largest textile exporter, second largest producer of cotton, jute, silk, and a growing player in technical textiles. We contribute 2% to the GDP in textiles, 14% to industrial output, employs millions of people directly and indirectly. Rising domestic consumption, government support, innovation, and demand for sustainable products has taken place. From heritage crafts like handloom, silks to advanced technical textiles, India is diversifying its textiles, and production costs remained a challenge. Fragmented supply chain remains a challenge. Need for sustainability remains a challenge. And the PLI scheme is being used to support textile industry, that is the production link incentive. PM Mitra, that is the Mega Park scheme, and Kasturi Cotton, a branding of Indian cotton for global recognition as well. We are projected to reach $250 to $350 billion by 2030, doubling its GDP contribution. Focuses on innovation, smart fabrics, green technologies to enhance competitiveness. And in another news, India has now added 6.34 gigawatt worth of wind capacity by 2025, bringing the cumulative total to 54.51 gigawatt by end of this year. This performance represents a 85% increase in the overall wind energy capacity of India. The growth driver is open access capacity additions. Leading states are Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. The milestone is to achieve 50 gigawatt by March 2025. It has surpassed 50 gigawatt by March 2025, and also this was a part of the larger renewable energy push, where India added a total of 48 gigawatt in 2025, the highest ever for the country. This achievement aligns with India's goal of reaching 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel by 2030. According to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy Resources, the record expansion highlights India's acceleration towards sustainable energy ecosystem. And the EV retail sales also are growing for stronger adoption. So the electric vehicle sales are growing significantly due to stronger adoption, with India's total EV sales surging 16% in 2025 to 2.27 million units. The passenger vehicle segment saw a dramatic 77% increase. And key drivers for stronger EV adoption are improved product choices, a variety of electric models now being available, especially even in SUVs, and lower total cost of ownership, maintenance and fuel costs compared to traditional vehicles. Expanding charging infrastructure is making it more convenient. Support of government policies like FAME India program, environmental acts awareness among the public is making them to adopt EV. And now, according to with the US now taking into custody Maduro, the Venezuela oil control of US now revives the petrodollar debate. So recent actions concerning the Venezuelan oil, particularly attempts by United States to reassert control over its future production, has reignited the petrodollar debate, that is domination of dollar in the petroleum sales and exports and imports as well. The primary goal of the US involvement appears to be ensuring that the Venezuela's vast oil reserves, especially in the Orinoco Basin, remain in the dollar-based trading system, which reinforces the demand for dollar. Now, under leaders like Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela has been attempting to bypass the petrodollar by selling oil in alternative currencies like euro and yuan. This has angered and strained relations with US. Currently, while the reserves are immense, Venezuela's current oil output is very modest, meaning that the market impact is minimal, and focus is now to increase the production and also the sale from this region, especially by US. The debate in Venezuela is a part of a larger global trend. Countries, including the BRIC nations, are exploring alternative financial architecture, and a 50-year petrodollar agreement between US and Saudi Arabia recently ended, allowing for multi-currency oil sales. The US is now fearing that the petrodollar decrease will automatically also lead to the decrease in the demand for dollar, as many countries agree to trade in other currencies as well, therefore reducing the dominance of US dollar. This will definitely affect the US demand for dollar, and also the value of the US dollar, and also the monetary policy in the United States as well. Apart from that, now trade unions are calling for a general strike against the labor codes. Let me tell you, the government has released 4 labor codes on industrial relations, social security, and 2 other codes as well. There are various criticisms, however, which say that the trade unions argue that the codes dilute their position, increasing job insecurity and making harder for the unions to assert their rights. It will impact collective bargaining. Stricter conditions for reorganizing strikes requiring 75% of worker consent and changes to standing orders are seen as undermining the union power. Inadequate protection to informal and gig voters. The codes lack concrete enforceable mechanism for social security welfare for gig and informal workers, leaving them vulnerable. Procedural issues and lack of consultation. Passing laws without insufficient debate and notifying them without the International Labour Conference is seen as illegitimate and violation of ILO conventions. Weak enforcement and implementation gaps that exist, like inspection mechanisms, reliance on self-certification, coupled with poor center-state coordination, will hinder effective implementation. Dumbed down provisions, thresholds for government permission for layoff and closures are raised, potentially reducing job security for smaller establishments. Lack of living wage mechanism. The code fails to incorporate establish a formula for fixing an adequate minimum or living wage despite court recommendation. And the last one is concern about women workers. While allowing night work for women, critics fear inadequate safety provisions in poorly regulated sectors create new vulnerabilities for the women. So these are the few topics I thought I should be discussing you for the week gone by with regard to economy. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. I shall see you in my new post. Until then, it's very happy learning.